Hello and welcome to the Valley. Today I am your host, Janet Michael. We have a returning guest on the show today. I am so excited to bring back Ben Savory. Ben, as you may remember, is the owner at Summit Events. You may not remember, though, because he hasn't been on the show since March of 2024, which, Ben, I got to tell you, feels like 100.5 years ago as we're sitting pretty in 2026.
It does, and thank you so much for having me back.
When you were on the show back in March of 2024, you were fresh off of your win, your award as Entrepreneur of the Year. And sometimes people win those kinds of awards, and that's like the pinnacle. And then they think, okay, I've reached this thing and now I'm good. You won that award and thought, oh, this is just the beginning. You've been gangbusters since then.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was a bigger vision in my mind at the time, even then, of where I wanted Summit Events to go. But I resonate with that idea too of it being kind of a pinnacle. I said in my speech back then that my life had felt like the first third had been accomplished, that I had done the growing up, the family beginnings, the company achievement to be at a place where I was working for myself and providing for my family. And so it was like, okay, well, what do I want to do with this second third of life? The kids are at home and growing up phase, the quote unquote optimal working years, that middle chunk. What am I going to do with it? And it's been really exciting to play with those, I guess, those variables of that balance between company and work and where we want to go professionally in our lives and the personal of what we want to develop within our own home and with the people that we love and cherish. And so I kind of married a little bit of both of those. It's always been a dream to have the team to help carry the load and to allow myself to not burn the candle from both ends and be working day and night and weekends. And since the last time we chatted, we now have 4 full-time staff and 2 part-time staff, in addition to our contractors and the folks that we work alongside with, like live musicians for our events. And so that has been the biggest difference between then and now is our team has really grown. Of course, we're doing more events than we did back then, but we're also getting to do them alongside one another. And it's way more fun that way.
Why start an events company? What was it about being present at other people's moments that was interesting to you?
Yeah, so I kind of always describe it based on this quote I heard from Ted Dancing. I grew up doing a lot of improv and sketch comedy. Something he said always really resonated with me is he felt like his entire life he's just sitting on the tailgate of a pickup truck going down the road and he's facing backwards. He has no idea where he's going, but he's seeing all these little things pop in from peripheral and he just starts grabbing them and throwing them in the truck behind him. And it's this idea of I'm just going to continue to put things together. And so for me, I didn't grow up wanting to be a DJ. I didn't grow up wanting to be a musician either or anything like that. It just happened. And by putting together all these things that happened to me along the way, and just very briefly, one of them, my dad owned a record store before I was born, but was a musician and was very passionate about music, went to Woodstock in 69. I grew up not knowing about popular music until I was in like 5th grade. It was like all the Beatles and the Beach Boys and Styx and Foreigner and just like all these other Elvis and just some amazing influences. And then like my first pop song I ever heard was Pinch Me by Bare Naked Ladies in like their 6th grade. And then my cousin, when I was in middle school, started picking me up on Sunday mornings at 7 a.m. to help him run the soundboard at church for services. And so I learned how to push a slider up and down and what high, mid, and low frequencies were a bit. I was still in middle school. And then I went to college for theater performance and just continued to pull things together. Then had some other leadership opportunities and other little jobs that I had through college and into post grad. And when I left graduate school, I knew by then that I wanted to work for myself and have my own company and that we would have a community driven business model and that we would kind of grow where we planted, whether that was back home or somewhere else. all of it to say, I just had friends that were getting married and I knew a lot of good songs. And then they would just ask me to run the iPod. That was a lot of it. And then I just kept getting invited back and invited back. And I kept saying yes. And I was like, hey, I need some money to pay back college and I need some money for this newborn that's coming. And so it kind of just happened. And it was all these things that I'd collected over time that I could put together from theater. The show must go on. There's no excuses on someone's wedding day. You have to be there. It doesn't matter if you're sad or angry, you have to perform. You have a job, you have a responsibility. And those types of things. And of course, just the tactile, how do you plug in a speaker and what's gain? Those things came together. But I had a process and I was able to say, like, if you do these things in this order, you will have a good wedding. You will have a fun wedding. People saw that. They kept inviting me back. I've taught it to the others on our team. And so we're able to kind of deploy that variety of experiences, that menu of options to ensure that your vision is achieved in your celebration, whether it's a wedding or a corporate event, birthday party, things like that. There are rules to the game. And if you play by the rules, we can give you a really good event, just like there are rules to making a good cup of espresso. You can only vary so much before it's not espresso anymore. And so for us, we have a lot that we bring to the table, but at the end of the day, there are expectations for weddings and there are expectations for corporate award ceremonies and there are expectations for a 4-year-old's birthday party. And we want to make sure that we meet those expectations and not say, hey, this one thing works for all of them. But at the same time, there are some tried and true things that work when it comes to having the best celebration that we can. It's been interesting to me along the way that what those things I think are common knowledge to other DJs or company owners or entrepreneurs or performers in general, where they don't think that. We like to say all the time, we're no surprises DJs and we don't tell stories and jokes off book. Nothing's going to happen at your wedding that you didn't know was going to happen at your wedding. Just like a director
That's
doesn't want
good.
to see anything on stage that he didn't know was coming. When it's your wedding, it's your show. But sometimes DJs like to tell jokes or long stories at a reception. And so it's been funny. People often say, turn your biggest pain into your biggest passion. And I think it was our Buckminster Fuller, which is the guy who invented the geodesic dome, was a serial entrepreneur. He would say, find the pain in the community and deliver that solution. Find what they want. What drives you nuts? What's your pet peeve? How did you fix it? Somebody else probably wants that. One of my pet peeves was really cringy weddings I was going to. And in my early 20s, my friends were getting married. And I was just like, it's not that hard to do better. And I was like, I could probably do it without turntables and be better, because that was my thing. I was like, I don't know how to mix and DJ and all that stuff. But I was like, I know everything else. If I can just turn the speakers on and face them opposite, you won't get that sound. Just doing some things like that. And so it's been interesting over the years what pet peeves other people on our team have brought together and other solutions we've been able to provide other people because of the things that used to drive them nuts at home, at work, at parties.
The thing that I really appreciate too is that you've brought in that team. A lot of times, small businesses, when they get started, particularly in your industry, the person becomes the business and there is nobody else. And it's very hard then to scale. It's very hard to keep that balance between family and working. But you recognize that early on. If I'm not mistaken, didn't you go through a class? Ryan Hall is on the show with me fairly frequently from Shenandoah Community Capital Fund. You've always looked to continue your education in how to effectively run this business.
Yeah, I've continued to take professional development through leadership opportunities and things like that. And I was able to do the Shenandoah Community Capital Fund's Capacitator program, which is like a business coaching incubator. And so there's a cohort, there's fellow entrepreneurs, and they're each assigned to a kind of state vetted, experienced business coach, somebody who's running businesses like manufacturing or for marketing or other expertise that they need help in. And you get linked up with that person for 5 to 6 months, and the program pays for that coaching. And so you set out a roadmap of goals and they kind of walk you through it and hold you accountable to them, which kind of naturally leads us into what Summit is doing in 2026 was a lot of what we spent developing during that time.
Before you give us a little teaser as to what some of those things are, for someone who's listening and they're like, wait, I think I've seen a post for Summit Events. They're just a DJ company, right? That could not be further from the truth.
No, no, in a lot of ways, no. Absolutely, if you're getting married and you need sound, we provide DJs, but we also provide sound support for everything from a lunch and learn something very simple where you just need to pop up a speaker and a mic because you got maybe more than 30 people, but you also need a TV or a screen. We can bring that as well and offer that support all the way up to conferences with breakout rooms. So if you've got 6 or 7 breakout rooms and one keynote room, we're able to support that as well. We can do the live stream, we can do the live feed, we can package your trainings up into videos afterward as well so that you can deploy them all year long for your staff. We also do a lot of work, especially right now in the winter, with fundraisers and galas. So we partner with nonprofits as well as PTOs, and we actually have a school packet with a list of 10 fundraising ideas for your PTO, and in each one, how Summit can support it, where you make more money by bringing us along with you than you would by trying to do the event or the fundraiser on your own. And so there's some really exciting ideas in there that we've seen. One can be a drive-in or indoor movie night where we can set up a very large projector for you and have the actual sound to provide for hundreds of people to be able to hear it and feel that kind of movie experience, which is really fun. Just one example. We also provide photo booths, and we have several photo booth options. So we have the open air digital kiosk where they can text the photo to themselves or have unlimited prints done for them. But we also have a glam booth experience, which is an 8x10 photo. It is a portrait session. And so for some of those more upscale events or a gala dinner, or a black tie fundraiser, we can provide a glam booth as well so that your guests are going home with a really nice memento from the event. And they can also be digitally designed to have your logo or the event over top of the photo as well, so that it's more of a keepsake from the event. And also, right now, we provide additional lighting that you might not be thinking, oh, I'm not throwing a party, I don't need lighting. But it could be a nice dinner where we can really transform a restaurant you've been to a dozen times into a new look or a new vibe for you. We can also do outdoor bistro lighting. So we can set up in a field in the middle of nowhere with really nice cafe lighting. We've set this up for the Winchester Winter Village. You might have seen us down there. We had our string lights set up for that as well, which really helped kind of transport us out of the normal Winchester environment into more of a holiday market. And so we can do that at your house. We can do it over your pool. We can do it for an outdoor dinner or any sort of event you're doing, maybe even just a proposal. We can help design and set that up for you as well. So really, if there is an event that you're doing or just any sort of celebration, we're able to elevate that experience through the use of lights, sound, photos, and music. So we have live musicians as well. Something really popular this year has been a DJ and a saxophone combined playing at the same time,
Ah,
which has been really fun. Jason on the electric violin is really fun as well. If you're looking for a string quartet or a larger band feel, we can provide that with one musician playing live with the backtracks. There's a lot that we can do for nearly any kind of experience, but the scale, I think, is sometimes people think it has to be big, that I have to be having 100 people or 300 people before I would need something like that. And we have found that to be not true. And so during these workday pop-ups, whether it's those lunch and learns or going and supporting somebody who's doing a presentation, or maybe they're extending themselves in their career by doing professional development for somebody else, and we can come alongside them and give them that professional look without them having to invest thousands of dollars into equipment.
I do these workshops and these social media seminars. I'm getting ready to kick off a marketing basics boot camp at the end of January, early February for a select group of people. And I've always wanted to videotape those or something so that I have them and can either just sell a version of them later or have them for the people that were there and they can't write everything down. They can go back and watch them after the fact. It didn't even occur to me. I'm sorry to say that I should have called
Exactly.
you. You could do that for me.
Well, now you can. And we have a mentality on our team anyway. If there is something you need for your event, ask. And if we can't, we'll try. And if we can't, we'll find somebody who can. We enjoy doing that, whether you're using us ultimately for your event or not. We work with an immense collective of event professionals across the mid Atlantic already. Just a couple of weeks ago, I helped a networking agency that we do sound DJs and photo booths for a giant martini glass for an event they were looking for. But they asked us, which I was flattered by. But I was like, I have done an event where there was a giant martini glass. They're in Baltimore. I will give you their number. We were able to still help them elevate their event, even though we didn't serve them that time.
And you bring up a good point when you talk about having done an event in Baltimore. You don't just do this in the Shenandoah Valley. You also have the ability to travel.
Yeah, in the last couple of years, we've gotten to perform in San Francisco, San Diego, Chicago, Tucson, Dallas, and across the mid Atlantic from New York down through North Carolina. And we have had the pleasure of coming alongside some really great people and some really great spaces. The venues that we get to be a part of, we're in the Anthem on the Wharf a couple of weeks ago. Really, really fun and exciting and part of the allure to the job for sure. But it has also just continued to illustrate to us the need for professional, reliable, confident entertainment. The fact that people are willing to take us that far really shows us that there's something in the water that we're making. And so we want to continue to deliver that experience. But I think part of what makes us so compelling as an entertainment company is our business model is centered on community building, not just involvement. We don't just show up when we're paid. We also do a lot of this for free. And something I'm really proud of that for the last 3 years, we've donated at least $100,000 in services each year to nonprofits and community engagements. And some of those we are doing ourselves. The vast majority, though, are put on by other community builders in the community. That might be something from the NAACP's Juneteenth event, where we'll go and provide a photo booth for that, and that we're happy to do so. Or there's the Reaching Out Now group in Front Royal, who does a lot of investing into young people in the Front Royal and Warren County area. And we'll come alongside them throughout the year to make sure that when they have 300 people show up, they can all hear who's speaking. And those are things that sometimes you don't think about in the moment, especially as what you might think of as a small nonprofit. But sometimes the most important thing for your message is for it to be heard. And when you are live and in the room and there's 100 people, there's just something about a microphone and a speaker that really gets the job done.
This is why we depend on you for the Day of Caring kickoff and the Day of Caring wrap up for United Way, because when you've got over 1,000 people in that gym at the Wilkins Center at Shenandoah University, you kind of need a microphone.
Yeah. I mean, it's 7 a.m. Nobody wants to be screaming, but it's fun too because we get everybody pumped up and send them out for the day. So it's that we are going to be taking with us as we expand in 2026. Some of the things that we're really excited about are that we're going to be opening a new office in Leesburg and expanding a little bit that way to respond to the need that's out there and what we've been doing out there the last few years, and to get us a little bit closer to our work in DC. We're staying here. This will be new folks on our team. And then we are potentially also launching in Charlottesville and Virginia Beach. We've been doing events down there a lot the last couple of years and have built some relationships. And we already have affiliate team members that live in those areas: DC, Virginia Beach, Richmond, Charlottesville, and of course, the Shenandoah Valley. And so we're going to be building and investing into those communities now, starting with Leesburg. So if you live in the Loudoun County area, you might see us at more and more of the local community events, not just doing weddings at the venues.
You're also going to be expanding your entertainment options. You're not just going to connect somebody with a giant martini glass anymore. And so this is the video that prompted the whole conversation that we're having today. I want to know who came to you and said, "Hey, Ben, do you know any fire dancers?"
Credit where credit is due. Nikki Klobiko, a friend of mine in Winchester, likes having different options for her celebrations. After years and years and years of throwing parties throughout your life, there are things that you look forward to, and there are things that you want to spice it up. Something you might not do every time, but could add a little more to the event, zhuzh it up a bit. Over my career, I've gotten to work with some really interesting and really compelling folks. And it's always been a dream of mine to see them more at work and to bring them along with us. And so we are in the process of forming a summit collective of unique experiences that will be a cheat sheet for you that you'll be able to go to and say, here are the unique experiences offered in our region. And then it will connect you directly to those people. Only a couple of things will we be adding in-house, but a lot of this will be more of that kind of social network brokering, where we are connecting our clients who are looking for professional entertainment that they can be confident in with these professional industry providers who are doing things that we don't provide normally and we don't see normally. And these are folks like your fire dancers, your live cannoli guys. The live watercolor portraits are really fun and really popular right now. We'll be having them on our list, and just other unique, like the mobile coffee shop that can pull up and make lattes for an hour at your wedding or party, and any of these other mobile kind
I
of.
need one of those to just follow me around.
Right? Yeah, so you can get your own personal coffee attendant, be able to
Yes.
connect with them. Connor the Irish bartender, people who bring something a little unique to the experience you might not have thought about, whether it's stilt walkers or the jugglers and those folks. But how many times do you go, oh, we need somebody to paint faces and make balloon animals and do this? And like, well, what if they were right there? And on the list, you also saw Happy Henna Guy, the henna artist. And you also saw a mobile bouquet cart where you could make flowers for Mother's Day. If you're hosting some sort of Mother's Day brunch, maybe they could come alongside and add a unique experience. And so being able to look at that list throughout the year and having it all in one place, we think will add a lot of value to what our clients and friends are doing with their parties and celebrations, and to our friends who are providing these unique experiences that have more of a niche market.
So where can people go? Someone that's listening today, maybe they got engaged over the holidays and they're 2 years out for their wedding, because I'm guessing you're probably pretty heavily booked coming into the June wedding season. Where can people learn more about what you do, follow along with you as you take this journey through 2026?
Yeah, I'd encourage anybody who's getting married in 2026 to reach out now. We did about 182 weddings this year. We have about 110 booked for this year. So we've got about 75 slots left, 75 to 100 slots left if you are getting married this year. But you can find us at Summit Events Co. on all the socials, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. And of course, you can always find me directly, Ben, at summiteventsco.com if you've got a question or would like a custom proposal for your next party.
Thank you for taking the time today. This has been pretty eye opening, even for me. And I always go into these with people that I know thinking, oh, he's not going to say anything I didn't know already. And oh my gosh, you said several things that I didn't know already. So I appreciate that.
Well, I didn't know that you were secretly wed for so long against your father's will.
So I will go ahead and warn you. We'll have to look at the date, probably the New Year's Eve date. Tim and I will have been married for 30 years in 2028. And so every 10 years at our 10-year anniversary, we renew our vows. I renew his contract. So if he stays on the straight and narrow for the next 3 years, we're going to have to look at some big celebration. I'm thinking probably at Clem's Kitchen, because I'm also lazy and I can walk there. And
Fair.
it's Billy and Amanda. So that makes it even easier in my life. But yeah, so we may have to plan some big shindig on New Year's Eve for
It
2030.
sounds like the Valley today is going to have to do a big
Right?
shindig if they want to renew their contract. I'm
I
seeing a
think that's a
ball
good idea
drop.
too.
I'm seeing your favorite musical artists performing. Andy Gale singing "Auld Lang Syne" at the end. Oh,
Jason with
everyone.
the electric violin. Is that Jason from Shenandoah University?
It is Jason Labrador.
I know him. He's done
Yes,
the show. Yes.
Yes, graduated from Shenandoah University and is now a very prolific orchestra performer.
He has actually performed live in the studio on the show several times.
My favorite is still when he performed dressed as Spider-Man at the Marvelocity Gallery opening at the Museum of the Shenandoah Valley.
I love
It was
that.
awesome.
That's awesome. Well, thank you, my friend, for taking the time today.
Yes, thanks for having me. I'll see you in 2-ish years.
I will be back tomorrow with a brand new episode of The Valley. Today, we're keeping on theatrical themes a bit because I talked to some of the actors and the director of Wait Until Dark, which is a production that is opening in another week or two at Winchester Little Theater. So meet me back here for that conversation tomorrow, just a few minutes after noon.